Hello once again, Wildcats. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner presented by Atrium Health. My name is Paul Roper, joined by Davidson head football coach Thakkar as we get ready for Wildcat weekend against the St. Thomas Tommies, but coming off of the PFL opener against Stetson. Tough result. It was a Stetson team that was hungry for a win at home. Cats had some opportunities, but come up short. What are some of the takeaways from that game now that you've seen some of the film?
Yeah, there was a couple points in that game that really stick out when we did some things really well. There are other points that stick out where we didn't play our brand of football. I think if we want to get to where we want to get to as a program and as a team, we definitely need to improve on our tackling. I think it's evident that that's our biggest room for improvement right now. There's a lot of time where guys are doing a great job. They understand the assignment. They understand what they're seeing. They're getting to the right spots. We're just not making enough plays and getting guys on the ground defensively, and then offensively, just a couple, some really good things where we executed well and executed the game plan, and then had a couple empty drives where we went 3 and out, and we can't have that. We got to be more efficient, more consistent overall.
Well, you touched on it. The tackling came up on Saturday's game, in which there was a few opportunities in which the Hatters could have been down on third down or able to break a big play, somehow get out of those tackles. How do you try and improve on that aspect midway through the season and try and strike that balance between that and making sure your players stay healthy?
Yeah, we practice-wise, you can only do so much. We got to make sure we're always practicing our angles, our mechanics, making sure we're putting our guys in the positions in practice they're going to be in on game day. But as you said, you can only go live and practice so much. I think for us schematically, we got to look at it big picture, like how do we kind of avoid some more, or how do we have some less of those one-on-one situations, right? Maybe get more hats to the football, do a better job in block destruction and pursuit. And, instead of 1 or 2 guys being at the point of attack, how do we get 3, 4 guys at the point of attack? And, obviously frustrating up until this point where our tackling has been. On the flip side of that, we're playing with some really young guys on defense who, are also doing some good things. And, we just got to keep improving, taking a step forward when it comes to our tackling.
Well, the Cats did win the turnover battle on Saturday, and they also did a good job as far as some of their receivers concerned, particularly Ivan Hoyt, who continues to impress, has a touchdown in every game he's played in so far. He was the first Wildcat with 3 touchdown receptions in a game. Did it 11 years to the day William Morris did against Dayton. Talk about how Ivan has continued to improve as he manages to stay on the field.
Yeah, we obviously knew he was a really talented kid coming in. He had battled some injuries, and I kind of like I said in the post game, he's probably still quite not at 100%. But what was awesome to see from him was not only can he do things contested because he's a strong kid, he's good in the weight room, but see him break a couple long ones, right? He catches a screen pass at the line of scrimmage and takes it for an explosive play touchdown and outruns the defense and then gets behind the defense in a 2-minute situation. So hadn't really seen that from him, right? The touchdowns that he had kind of prior were either in the red zone or off of some double moves and things like that where he was open. So it was good to see him be able to create and use his speed. And, we're going to need him down the stretch run to keep making plays for us.
You're back at home. It's Wildcat Weekend. It's your first experience with the Wildcat Weekend. How excited are you to get your team back on the field and play at home here at Field 76 at Wildcat Weekend?
Yeah, it's always good to play at home, and we had a great crowd the last home game, and which was awesome. And we're expecting a great crowd again, and always appreciate the supporters and fans we have both on campus and in our community, and urge them to come out and be loud. And we have a really good opponent coming to town that we got to play a good game to win.
Well, that good opponent is St. Thomas, and they're in a situation where they're desperate for a win. They're 0-2 in PFL play, and that's even after they won handily in their season opener against a particularly good Lindenwood team. What should we expect from the Tommies this weekend as they come to Field 76?
They're 2 plays away from being 2-0 in conference play. They lost on a game-winning field goal week 1, or their first conference game, in a game in which they led for about 3.5 quarters, and then last week they lose an OT. In which they had to stop to essentially put the game away. They lined up offsides. Butler got another chance and won, right? So they're a couple plays away from, being a top team in the conference right now. They're very well coached. They probably do the most schematically of any team we're going to see all year as far as offense, defense, and special teams. Coach Caruso's been there a long time and has won a lot of football games there. So we're going to have to coach a really good game. We're going to have to play a really good game and be fundamentally sound and make sure, especially mentally, that we're locked in this week for all the different things that they show.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to it. I know you're looking forward to your first Wildcat Weekend. Best of luck this week.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
He's head coach Saj Thakkar. My name is Paul Roper, inviting you to tune into our radio broadcast. Start at 12:30 with the Pepsi pregame show on WHIP and the Varsity Network app from Learfield. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. from Field 76 at Davidson College Stadium. Until then, this is Coach's Corner, presented by Atrium Health.